On the day Sophia and Aiden got engaged, I wanted to drive in and take them down with me. But the moment I started the engine, a madwoman suddenly rushed over and threw a basket in front of the car. The car died and I froze. Inside the basket was an abandoned baby girl. Half an hour later, cheerful music came from the hall. I put the baby in the car, turned around, and drove to the high-speed rail station. From then on, the fake young master of the Johnson family disappeared from Jing City, just as everyone wished. I went 1,000 miles away to Nangang City, adopted the abandoned infant, and lived with my daughter, never contacting those people again. Until 4 years later, one by one, they reappeared in front of me. I saw Luna again 4 years later at the kindergarten gate. I picked up Chloe when someone beside me suddenly leaned over. Chloe's dad, look at that person across the street. Seems like that singer. What's her name? I followed her, pointing. Luna. She smacked her head. Right, Luna. I looked away. Don't know her. She was surprised. You don't listen to music? Luna. That original singer who's been hottest these past few years. Won so many awards. Honestly, her face is a bit like yours, both beauties. I smiled, shook my head, and kept walking holding Chloe's hand. Ethan. Unexpectedly, her voice came from behind. I ignored it and kept walking. Ethan. Chloe looked up. Dad, is the lady behind calling you? Why is she calling you Ethan? I shook my head and smiled. She's mistaken. When we reached the parking lot, and I was about to open the car door, my arm was suddenly grabbed. I turned, and it was Luna, breathless. Ethan, you're actually still alive? Her words were as sharp and biting as ever. Maybe from running too fast. There was a faint redness around her eyes. I left Chloe at the neighbor's. Coming down the stairs, Luna curled her lip. How can you live in a dump like this? Where's your home? I'll go up and take a look. I shook my head. No need. For years ago, she herself said her brother was only Aiden. She also said that calling each other siblings with someone like me would only make her sick. I was expelled from the Johnson family by Lucas, despised by Sophia, blacklisted by the entire social circle of Jing City. And when I had nowhere to turn, I once thought of looking for her, my real sister. On a snowy night, I stood under a company building all night, nearly frozen stiff. But in the end, she said one sentence. Her greatest wish had always been that I had never been her brother. If you hadn't been born, Aiden wouldn't have been switched at birth and wouldn't have suffered so much. Brother? How ridiculous. The Johnson family kicked you out, and now you're trying to milk our blood relation to guilt trip me? I'll never accept someone like you as my brother. It was then I realized that no matter how good I was to her, she hated me because of Aiden. Now she still looked at me with a scrutinizing gaze, frowning. Where did that child of yours come from? You didn't steal them, did you? I was silent for a moment. I adopted the child. She tugged at the corner of her mouth. Why would you adopt a kid for no reason? Don't tell me you did it, because Sophia can't have children and likes daughters, so you found a girl thinking that would win her back? You're so love-struck. How laughable. How foolish. This is my child alone. I interrupted her. I never planned to return to Jing City, nor did I intend to use this child to compete with your brother for Sophia. Rest assured, there's no need for you to be so aggressive. Like you said back then, apart from blood, we're strangers. I won't concern myself with your life, and please don't boss me around. She was stunned. If you're done here, then go. I turned. Wait. Unexpectedly, she grabbed me. She opened her mouth, then closed it. I frowned. What? Why did you leave back then? I looked at her quietly. You were a little master who couldn't do anything. Weren't you just sulking because of few words? What kind of tantrum was running away from home? If I hadn't run into you, how much longer would you have endured that miserable life? And these past 4 years, she paused. How did you survive? I looked at the slight redness at the corner of her eyes, probably from anger. She must be surprised I'm still alive, and my being alive is a threat to Aiden's happy life. How did I survive? Someone else traded their life for mine, but I had no obligation to tell her. The old Ethan was the pampered little master of the Johnson family. The current Ethan no longer depends on others. Seeing that I remained silent, she grew anxious. No. How did you get so slow and melancholy in personality? Could that huge earthquake years ago in Nangang City have damaged your brain? moving to some backwater hole and getting caught in another quake. Serves you right. At that moment, a neighbor passed by and greeted me. Noah, not cooked yet? I smiled. I'll do it soon. Luna was taken aback. You should go, I said, but she held on tight. Why did you change your surname? Carter. Whose name is that? Whose name it is none of your business. I brushed her hand away, word by word. What my surname is and how I live, Luna, are none of your concern. Luna is a star. She couldn't possibly be seen tussling with me in public. I went upstairs, picked up Chloe, and through the hallway window, saw her still standing downstairs in a daze. She had never cared about me before. Now her wistfulness might simply be because she wasn't used to my coldness toward her. After all, for years ago, when I learned of her musical dreams as a poor talented girl, I almost exhausted every contact in Jing City's social circle just to get her a chance to perform. Even her current agency, Reed Entertainment, was the best one I found for her. She is my younger sister and has suffered a lot. I want her to be well. But all that goodwill was ultimately misinterpreted by her as scheming, as if I intended to isolate Aiden and make him suffer. Dad, was that Aunt your family today? I was a little startled, smiled, and stroked Chloe's head. No, why would you think that? I was guessing. You look alike. Family. Lucas's face suddenly appeared in my mind. I had always thought Lucas was my elder brother, whether or not we shared blood. But 4 years ago, when he helped Aiden up after he fell down the stairs, the look he gave me was full of anger. Ethan, you have truly disappointed me. From today on, there is no you in the Johnson family, and I no longer have you as a brother. My brother is only Aiden. I kept tugging at his pant leg, repeatedly saying I wasn't the one who pushed Aiden, but he kicked me harshly aside and still walked away with Aiden without looking back. I shook my head. That person is not Dad's family. She seemed a little disappointed. I thought besides Uncle Noah, Dad had other relatives. I tapped her nose and smiled. Dad says having you and Uncle Noah is enough. But Uncle Noah is gone. She pouted. I really want to see him. I understood how she felt. But mere disappointment is better than the pain of gaining and then losing, of relying and then being cut off. I've been through that, so I don't want my daughter to go through it again. I just didn't expect that the next day I would meet Lucas. Chloe had a fever in the middle of the night. I took her to the hospital. The viral infection was fierce, and she needed to be hospitalized for treatment, so I didn't sleep all night. Early the next morning, the fever finally broke, but she was listless. I carried her home and stopped by a street vendor to buy some meat and vegetables. After paying, the items I had bought were taken by a hand with distinct knuckles. I froze, looked up, and in the hazy morning mist saw Lucas's face. Lack of sleep blanked my mind. After staring for a moment, I blurted out, "Big brother," before remembering he had long ago told me not to call him that. The Johnson family was not someone I could afford to offend. After all, to punish me for bullying Aiden back then, Lucas had only to say a word and the entire Jing City social circle blacklisted me. Mr. Johnson. I immediately corrected myself. I was thinking about why he had suddenly appeared in Nangang City and didn't notice his fleeting ugly expression. "I'll help you carry these," he said softly. "No need." I reached for the bag in his hand, unsteady, and Chloe whimpered on my back. "Don't push yourself, Ethan." He grabbed my arm, stopping me from taking the bag back. "I'll take you and the child home." Ethan. Lucas hadn't called me that in a long time. The Johnson parents were abroad for years, and it was almost entirely Lucas who raised me. Well, he treated me like a real younger brother. He really spoiled me. Someone once asked him, "Spoiling me like this, aren't you afraid I'll cause trouble for you?" He just half squinted and said, "What's wrong with causing trouble? He's the Johnson family's young master. He's my brother. If he wants to cause trouble, let him. No matter how big it is, I'll cover for him." But later, Aiden returned to the Johnson family. At first, he still told me I would always be his brother. But faced with Aiden's repeated persecutions, he always told me to bear it. He suffered a lot. "Ethan, let him be," he said. "We have to make it up to Aiden." I didn't want to make things hard for him. He'd been my big brother for over 20 years. I wanted him to be happy. So I yielded, I endured again and again. Only when he finally unconditionally believed Aiden's frame up against me did I realize that while I regarded him as my big brother, he had long stopped treating me as his brother. And only when he himself pushed me into the mire to be pointed at by 1,000 people did I understand how foolish I had been. We rode in silence. I hadn't sat in a Maybach in a long time and felt a little out of place, hugging Chloe and shrinking to the side, thinking about why Lucas was here. Did Luna tell him? Was he afraid I'd hurt Aiden and rushed over at night to confirm? I didn't know and couldn't figure it out. My head ached and I hugged Chloe tighter, not noticing at all the longing in his eyes as he looked at me. Ethan. I looked up. The corners of his eyes had grown many more wrinkles. For years ago, we all thought I was dead, I know. I cut in. Actually, you guys could just consider me dead. I long ago gave up competing with Aiden. Everything originally belonged to him. Returning things to their rightful owner isn't bad. You don't need to be nervous or on guard, and you didn't need to come a check. I just want to live peacefully with my daughter now. Oh, my daughter will only follow me and would never go to Sophia. I can swear my life on it. I definitely won't use my daughter to sabotage Aiden and Sophia's relationship. Rest assured. I looked at him and repeated, "You really can rest assured." He froze. I'm not. Are you afraid I'll use the Johnson family name to do something bad? Rest assured I never will. I've long changed my surname. Ethan. He suddenly interrupted me. The skin around his eyes was red. Brother wanted to bring you back. I don't understand what Lucas is thinking. I'm no longer part of the Johnson family. He announced that himself 4 years ago. And why would I go back? To keep being Aiden's scapegoat? I also don't understand why someone of his standing insists on following me back to that 50 square meter, 1-bedroom apartment. I put Chloe on a bed in the bedroom, walked to the cabinet and took out a box of coffee, but then thought he probably wouldn't drink such cheap stuff. After some thought, I brought him a bottle of mineral water. His gaze fell on my right hand, and a trace of bitterness I couldn't read crossed his face. Finger is better? He asked. I looked down. My right hand ring finger and little finger couldn't move. It came from after Aiden returned to the Johnson family. Once when we visited the Johnson family factory, he got into a discussion with an engineer about a mechanical design and, to test his point, pressed the start button on the trial device. My hand happened to be supporting that part. Before the accident, I was a rising piano star. That was the only area where I could outshine Aiden. I didn't study as well as him, I didn't have his capabilities, but I had the piano, something I could show for. When Aiden first returned to the Johnson family, whenever I practiced, he'd look regretful. I've loved music since I was a child. If we hadn't been switched at birth, I would have played the piano too. But I could never perform on stage again. I couldn't accept it for a long time and collapsed emotionally. I always felt he did on purpose, so I couldn't help hating him for stealing my only glory, until he suddenly tried to kill himself. After he was rescued, I went from victim to perpetrator overnight. I remember that day after Lucas visited Aiden and came back, pinching his forehead and saying to me, "It's only that he can't play piano anymore. Only 2 fingers. Do you have to take his life over that? Even if you're a good-for-nothing who can't do anything, even if you weren't my real brother, didn't I tell you the Johnsons would take care of you for life? Do you have to be like this?" Luna coldly said, "If you hadn't been switched at birth, Aiden would have been the one who could play the piano. You just returned what you stole. How dare you make a scene?" They all told me my fingers were beyond repair. No matter how much I made a fuss, it wouldn't help. But later, at the celebration party for the patent won for the machine design that made my fingers, I overheard the doctor say to Lucas, at the time I said Master Ethan's fingers needed timely rehabilitation abroad, it could absolutely recover over 90%. You never took him? You dragged it out so long. Now it's very difficult to recover. Lucas replied indifferently, "If Ethan can't play piano anymore, fine." Aiden wanted to learn since he was little. Seeing Ethan unable to play helps him balance his feelings. Anyway, even if Ethan is useless, I'll take care of him. Whether he can play piano doesn't matter. So my dream, my future, in his eyes, was nothing more than a weight to balance Aiden's heart. When did I start being afraid of him? It was probably then. "I heard you're teaching music at an institution," he said suddenly. I froze. "I'm only teaching music initiation to children." It's simple music, so you don't need the ring finger or little finger to play. I don't have any intention of returning to the stage. I would never do anything to affect Aiden's feelings. I just need this job to provide for my child, and the doctor said my finger damage is permanent. I'll never be able to play piano well again in this life. Even so, do you still not allow me? He froze. Ethan, I'm not. But no matter what he said, I couldn't hear it. The anger that once ruined my life surged back. I couldn't lose this hard-won job just because Aiden was unhappy, so I frantically showed him my immobile fingers. Really, I can't play. I really can't play. I've returned everything the Johnson family gave me. If you don't believe me, you can come and try to move them. It's impossible. After all I've done for your brother for so many years, can't you leave me a way out? He, however, rose in panic and hurried forward to hold my trembling shoulders. Ethan, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. This time I'll protect you. Trust your brother. But how can I not be afraid? I'd finally restarted my life. Noah Carter bought a new life for Chloe and me with his own. I shove him hard. But after a sleepless night, I couldn't match his strength. During the scuffle, my vision suddenly went dark and I fainted. I dreamed of Noah Carter. He looked the same as in my memories, in the inn's courtyard one morning, shaving by the pool and tilting his head to ask me, "Whoa, bright and early. Why the long face?" There was a scar on his cheek that made him look fierce and tough. I felt embarrassed. "Noah, Chloe just had surgery. I'm out of dollars. Rent? Can I owe you a few months? I'll repay in dollars as soon as I get paid." He burst out laughing. "Just that? With that face you were making, I thought the world was ending. I have a lot of houses, just missing people to liven them up. Stay put. Chloe's congenital condition, even if the surgery succeeds, needs good care. Don't go working lately. Don't worry about the dollars. If they run out, isn't there still you, Noah?" At first he was just my landlord, a cop who retired early because of injury and illness. Later he became my big brother and Chloe's uncle. He was a brother completely different from Lucas. He seemed rough and casual, but his thoughts were more delicate than anyone's. He helped every tenant who hit hard times. When I first met him, I was struggling to find a place to live with a sick child. Others thought children with Chloe's condition were bad luck. Only he took us in without a word. He could have ignored me, but he keenly noticed my signs of depression and always tried to comfort me. "Ethan, look, the swallow kite you and Chloe painted. How high it flies. Ethan, have you eaten? I made too many sandwiches today. Come help me eat a few." At first I thought he was a fool. But unlike Lucas, who indulged by throwing money around, he would patiently and firmly tell me when some of my old bad habits resurfaced what was right and what was wrong. He sincerely celebrated when I found a new job, drank a couple more beers because of it, then got scolded by me until he stuck out his tongue. He taught me confidence and independence, taught me to choose how to live. He told me, "Ethan, trust me, there's no day you can't get through." We were strangers who happened to cross paths, three people with no blood ties, yet we became family. When Chloe turned 1, a major earthquake hit Nangang City. The quake triggered a fire that swept through the whole street of the inn's courtyard. My leg was crushed, and I couldn't get out. After he saved Chloe and me, he resolutely went back into the fire. I lay on a stretcher, pleading with him not to risk it again, but he smiled and said, "Ethan, you're a cop. At a time like this, you can't not go save people. Don't worry, I'll come back." He always kept his word, but this time he broke it. He rescued a dozen people trapped in the blaze, went in once more, and never came out. I don't even have a single photo with him. He always said the scar on his face made him look ugly, and he hated being photographed. Yet he took so many pictures of Chloe. I was awakened by a burst of voices. The three of us searched for him together for 4 years, and now you found him and kept it from me. What's that supposed to mean? That voice was Sophia. Luna's voice answered. What right do you have to see him? Sophia. We were engaged. He loves me. On that basis alone, I have more right than any of you. Engaged. Lucas's voice was icy. Don't forget you're Aiden's fiancée now. My 2 brothers are not commodities for you to pick. Sophia raised her voice. Lucas, do you think you can control everything? If you hadn't insisted on punishing Ethan back then, letting everyone bully him so he couldn't stay in the capital. How would he have left? Why did I get engaged to Aiden? If you two hadn't said Ethan pushed Aiden, how could I have been so disappointed and agreed to switch the marriage alliance? Do you think I don't know that Aiden pretends to be good to me, but behind my back complains I can't have children? He's not a 10,000th part as good as Ethan. Do you really believe us? Luna sneered. Sophia, weren't you just going with the flow? Can you say you never felt for my brother? That you never had feelings for Aiden? And Aiden is the legitimate young master of the Johnson family. Marrying him would help you secure shares in the Reed family, right? Now you suddenly remember my brother's good side. Don't keep calling him my brother. What kind of sister are you to him? When he went to look for you, you deliberately left him standing in the snow all night. If it weren't for you, how could he have left in despair? Now you pretend to be so close. Luna protested. Anyway, I'm the one most qualified to be by his side. I'm his brother. I'm the only one qualified. Lucas said coldly. I'll bring Ethan back to the Johnson family. He and the child have nothing to do with you. Who gave you the right to take him to the Johnsons? Luna snapped. What relationship do you have with him? You were the one who declared you were no longer brothers. I'm his real sister. I'm the only one who shares blood with him. Sophia, you ungrateful wretch. How dare you mention blood, sister? Back then, he begged so many people to get you on stage, humbling himself. When you became famous, the first person you thanked was Aiden. Did you ever mention his name even once? He only adopted the child because he knew I wanted a daughter. We are the real family. Enough. The patient needs rest. Only immediate family may stay. A nurse barged in scolding. I'm his brother. Lucas was the first to speak. I'm his sister, Luna hurriedly added. Mr. Johnson? Ms. Reed. The nurse paused. You are Mr. Carter's brother and sister? An awkward silence fell. I'm his fiancée, Sophia immediately said. Then you stay. The nurse replied impatiently. Both of you out. When I opened my eyes again, I really did see Sophia. She was sitting at the side of my bed, motionless, just watching me. Her eyes were still full of tears. I used to really love this childhood fiancée. Even though she was diagnosed infertile early on, I never gave up on being with her. For years ago, I tore the bandage off my finger and was discharged. Lucas and Luna were with Aiden. Only Sophia came to me. She was the only one who didn't blame me like they did. Ethan, you fool. I'm here. She was like a lifesaver for this drowning man, but later that night, groggy and half asleep, I heard her speaking softly on the phone, her tone gentle. Aiden Gidge, you have to cooperate with the doctor, otherwise your wrist will scar. Of course I know you're suffering. Ethan is sometimes just immature. I woke up almost instantly. I fought with her, asking why she'd been calling Aiden behind my back. At first she tried to soothe me, but soon she grew impatient. Ethan, the world doesn't revolve around you. Can't you be like Aiden and make people like you? Besides, if the babies hadn't been switched, he would have been my fiancé. Once the words left her mouth, she seemed to realize she'd said too much. She tried to come hug me, but I shoved her away. We fell into a cold war. Maybe she had long grown tired of our steady relationship of more than 10 years. Aiden, so different from me, was like a stone thrown into the center of a lake, stirring ripples in her heart. Later, when Aiden accused me of pushing him, she sided with Aiden along with Lucas and Luna. The rejection from those close to me made the whole social circle of the capital even more certain I'd gone mad. A fake young master, taken in by the Johnson family's kindness, but ungrateful and trying to harm the real young master. People said a pheasant is a pheasant. Even raised in a phoenix's nest for so many years, it's still a pheasant. I became a pariah. No matter how I called or texted Sophia, she didn't reply. I finally found her and, broken, asked why she didn't believe me either. She was silent for a moment, then said, Ethan, you've always been jealous of Aiden, haven't you? She told me to apologize. Anger took over, and I slammed the door and left. Later, the one who married into the family, with Sophia, became Aiden. Blinded by hatred, I became less and less like myself. I didn't understand why Sophia changed, why Lucas didn't trust me, why Luna just didn't like me. I sank into an emotional whirlpool I couldn't get out of and nearly went astray. It was only much later, after meeting Noah Carter, that I realized I had long since been depressed. Sophia looked at me with reddened eyes. "Ethan, I'm here. This time, I will never leave you again." She gently took my cold hand. "What happened before was a misunderstanding. Aiden fell by himself that year. It had nothing to do with you. I was blind for not seeing how scheming that bastard was." I let out a light laugh. "Sophia, you tried things with Aiden, found it didn't fit, and now you've decided to come back to me, your original fiancé?" She froze. "No, that's not it. I won't marry him. After you left, I realized the one I truly loved was you. I will never leave you again. I won't let them bully you. We'll go back to Jing City and get married. We'll give Chloe a complete family." I was stunned, then sprang up. "My daughter." She quickly pressed me down. "Don't worry, Chloe is next door." I looked into her eyes. Once upon a time, I was dizzy and head over heels in love because of those beautiful eyes. "Sophia, Chloe is my daughter alone." She fell silent for a moment, then looked up. "Ethan, I know you hate me. Back then I was foolish, and later I realized I only pitied Aiden. It was you I loved. But I don't love you." I cut her off coldly. She couldn't believe it. "You don't love me? If you didn't love me, how could you have adopted Chloe because I once said I wanted a daughter? Ethan, don't lie to yourself. You obviously love me so much." I suddenly laughed. "Sophia, where did you get the confidence that I can't live without you this lifetime? Where did you get the confidence that after 4 years, the moment you say you miss me, I'll gratefully go with you? Besides, I adopted a daughter not because I was attached to you, but because I wanted a family member. In these 4 years, I never once thought of you. How could that be?" She grabbed my hand. "I've thought about you day and night these 4 years. When someone said you were dead, I didn't believe it. I've been looking for you. We clearly loved each other. We grew up together. So many beautiful memories. Those memories only make me sick now." Her face drained of color and her eyes reddened further. "You're just saying that out of anger." "Get out," I said. Noah Carter had told me not to entangle with people who had problems in their heads. She looked at me in disbelief. "What are you saying? You weren't like this before, right? The old Ethan loved her, cherished her, gave his whole heart to her. But I'm Ethan now." Our argument carried outside. Lucas and Luna soon barged into the ward. "Ethan, come back with your brother. I'll protect you completely." "Brother, come with me. We're the ones truly related." I watched the 3 of them quietly. Once, they pushed me into the abyss. Now, one by one, they came to offer their pity and asked me to return with them. My eldest brother told me something. The 3 stopped, and a faint hope even surfaced in Lucas's eyes. He said I don't need to depend on anyone to shine brilliantly. Lucas's face immediately soured, because he had only taught me indulgence and pride, never said anything like that. So savior act. I, Ethan, now need no one. In the days that followed, the 3 of them kept obsessively investigating everyone named Carter around me. Noah Carter's story wasn't a secret. His rescue had been in the news. He was a city hero, and every year on his memorial, those he had saved would spontaneously go tend his grave. Luna often came to the complex. When I wouldn't let her in, she'd stand downstairs and leave lots of gifts for Chloe and me at the door. Her voice had grown much sweeter, and she even called me brother. Somehow she'd found out Chloe liked flying kites and made a swallow kite to give her. Lucas came too. When I refused to see him, he sent a nanny and a butler, and even wanted to move me into a bigger house. He did have money. That was how he'd supported me before. But I refused now. The most persistent was Sophia. She simply moved into the complex. She showed up every day, tried to make Chloe call her mom, and after I lost my temper once she finally behaved, just standing with red-rimmed eyes watching from a distance. Soon it was Chloe's birthday. She had many friends in the complex and had been looking forward to her 4th birthday party. Lucas, Luna, and Sophia all came uninvited. Because many neighbors and children who were close to me were coming, I didn't want to disappoint Chloe, so I didn't turn the 3 of them away. You could tell they were very pleased. Then, just before the food was served, A man's voice carrying a laugh came from the doorway. "Oh, am I late?" The expressions on the three faces in the room instantly darkened. I turned around. It was Aiden. Aiden holding a gift box, dressed luxuriously in bespoke clothes. "Uncle, you need to take off your shoes when you come in," Chloe said in a babyish voice. Aiden raised an eyebrow. "Oh, little sister, your dad and I are good brothers. The tiles in your house aren't worth as much as my shoes, so there's no need to take them off, right, Ethan?" 4 years apart, he was still sharp and hostile. I calmly reminded him, "Aiden, today is my daughter's birthday." "I know." He sat down as if on his own accord, smiling with red lips. "Otherwise, why would my brother, sister, and fiancé all be here with you?" The neighbors were stunned. The scene went quiet. He covered his mouth, making an exaggerated expression. "Oh my, turns out nobody knew, Ethan. Oh no, change your name now. Ethan Carter, the woman you hooked up with using child, is my fiancé." Some people are really cunning, occupying the identity of the Johnson family's young master for over 20 years. And even after everyone goes their separate ways, they're still not satisfied, using a child to try to take my brother, sister, and fiancé. "Aiden, are you crazy?" Sophia stood up immediately. "Who told you to come? Get out." "What? Afraid your good deed will be discovered and you don't want me to say it?" "I insist on saying it. In ancient times, people like him wouldn't deserve to be dunked in a pig cage." "Aiden, come home with me." Lucas also stood up and grabbed his arm. "Stop causing trouble. I'm not leaving." He tore free and shouted, "Do you even count me as your brother? He's not even your biological brother. Why are you so good to him? Have you forgotten the sufferings I've been through? What on earth are you doing?" Luna stepped forward. "Today is Chloe's birthday. We finally. Are the three of you all crazy?" Unexpectedly, he became more agitated and yelled, "I am Lucas's real brother. I am Sophia, your fiancée. I am the brother who's shared hardships with you, Luna, for over 20 years. The three of you, do you owe me? Do you owe me?" Chloe was terrified and looked up at me. I tightly covered her ears and carried her back to the bedroom. "Chloe, stay in your room and wait for Daddy to come back, okay?" She nodded. "Daddy, that uncle was so fierce, so ugly." I stroked her hair and stood to close the door. In the living room, the neighbors had almost all left. Only Aiden and the three of them remained. His carefully styled hair was already messy. The look in his eyes toward me was full of hatred. "Ethan Carter, you think you've won, don't you? You're so proud, making them never forget you, always searching for you. I've never seen anyone as shameless as you, a fraud. Where do you get the nerve to contact them again?" "Aiden, shut up." Lucas trembled. "How long are you going to make a scene?" Sophia grabbed his arm. "Let's go. Let go of me." He shook off Sophia and pointed at Luna. "Luna, we've suffered together as siblings for so many years. You've only known him for a few years. Why would you betray me too?" Luna only turned her face to the side. "Brother Aiden can't want everything. You were drunk and confessed to me yourself that you purposely injured his hand back then so he couldn't play, that you faked a suicide to gain sympathy, and even later, to drive him out of the Johnson family, you staged that self-harm performance pushing him down the stairs. You hate him for taking your life, but he isn't guilty either. Being switched at birth isn't his fault. Is that my fault? Am I not innocent? This was mine to begin with. I took it back. What's wrong with us returning to our own places?" He pointed at me. "You think he was so pure. He faked his death on purpose, then adopted a child on purpose. He plays the pitiful act. He's scheming. He still wants back into the Johnson family. He wants to replace me. Why can't you see that?" "Enough. Are you crazy?" Lucas shouted, his voice shaking. "If I had known you'd be like this even after I worked so hard to compensate you, back then it would have been better not to swap back." "What did you say?" Aiden froze. He looked at the other two and laughed out loud. He repeated like a madman, "You think that too? How can you do this to me? How can you? I stepped forward. Many times before, I had yielded to him. They said, "Ethan, what you have should rightly be his. He suffered too much, you should give way." But this time, the three of them all looked at me anxiously. "Ethan, I'll take you and Chloe and go first," Lucas said worriedly. "Don't worry, I'll handle this." I shook my head. I walked up to Aiden. Our feud had to end somehow. I raised my hand. Then slap. He froze, clutching his face, looking at me in disbelief. You actually dared to hit me? I said calmly. Aiden, the only reason I tolerated you before was because I did take your identity for over 20 years. Especially after learning the Reed family had been living in poverty. You and Luna had suffered. I felt guilty. I thought I had taken your identity, stolen your happiness. But 4 years ago, I returned everything to you. I took your identity, you hurt me, we're even now. I pointed to the three of them. And those three are your brother, sister, and fiancé. I never wanted to compete with you, and I don't crave it. But today you came and hurt my daughter, and I cannot forgive that. I raised my hand and struck his right cheek with another punch. He was hit and turned his head aside. Those 2 blows today were for my daughter. I don't want to get involved in the 4 of your grievances anymore, but if any of you dare to hurt my daughter again, I will fight you to the death. He stared at me blankly, then suddenly turned his head. Did you see that? He hit me. He bullied me right in front of you. This vicious imposter. How can you still like him? He became hysterical. Are you all mad? This is his true face. Silence. You idiots. You'll regret this. He seemed to lose control and rushed out, but immediately slipped and fell down the stairs. Clatter. Moans of pain came from downstairs. But this time, the 3 of them didn't move at all. They just stared straight at me. I sighed. He's hurt. You should go help him. But they still didn't move. I'm sorry, Ethan. We really didn't know he would come. Yeah, we didn't know he would come. It's okay. It's good we cleared the air anyway. I said calmly. Sophia went pale and reached out to stop me. No, Ethan, don't say, please. I shook my head and looked at them calmly. I, Ethan Carter, have no brother in the Johnson family, no sister in the Reed family, and no fiancé in the Taylor family. I'm doing very well now, much better than before. I don't need your pity, and I don't need your rescue. Your belated guilt or love will only bring me trouble and disrupt my life. The family I have in this lifetime are only Chloe and my older brother Noah Carter. Lucas spoke with difficulty, but Ethan, he's already dead. He would surely want someone to help you, not have you struggle as a single father. I shook my head. You're wrong. What he taught me was to be independent, so you can rest easy. I'm not living a hard life at all. I'm actually much happier than before. Luna suddenly cried. But we finally found you, and now you don't want us. I looked out at the blue sky. Yes, this time, it's me who doesn't want them. I thought I had made myself very clear. But the 3 of them still didn't want to leave. After the birthday party, they kept coming over, trying to make me change my mind and return to the capital with them. Aiden didn't come again, because this time he really had broken his leg. Neighbors couldn't help but gossip, so I submitted my resignation, planning to take the child and move to another city. The institution's principal was reluctant to see me go. Mr. Carter, you're young, and parents rate you the highest. Really not reconsidering. I shook my head. The principal gave a chance to someone like me who has a disability in his right hand back then, and I'm very grateful, but for my daughter, I have to change our environment. He thought for a moment, then suddenly asked, would you like to go to Harbor City? It's by the sea, the climate is mild, kids like it a lot. I'm planning to open a branch there. Would you be willing to be the head of teaching there? Someone like you is hard to let go. I agreed. The day before leaving, Lucas came to see me. Ethan, you don't have to move cities just to avoid us. I smiled and asked him, then can you stop showing up in front of me? He was silent a long time, then bowed his head in pain. If my brother still wants to do something for you, could you accept it? I held Chloe's hand and smiled softly. Thanks, Mr. Johnson, but that's not necessary. Chloe lifted her head. Uncle, do you have something else? We're going to visit Uncle Noah. His face froze. Right, we were going to sweep Noah Carter's grave. I brought several brands of beer and sat a long while at the grave. I told him I was moving to Harbor City, that I was making progress little by little, my work had been recognized, and Chloe was being well raised. He would definitely be proud of me. And now, I suppose he could drink freely without having to worry about his illness getting worse. The next day, I took Chloe to the airport. On the big screen, I saw Luna's interview. What I'm most grateful for is my own brother. Back when I was an amateur singer, no company wanted to sign me. It was my brother who kept helping and encouraging me, which led to where I am today. But later I treated him badly. I want to say to him, I'm sorry. Chloe pointed at Luna. Dad, that's the aunt who looks a bit like you. I patted her head. Let's board. After arriving in Harbor City, my life got back on track. I worked hard and lived diligently. And 6 months later, I was promoted to principal of the branch school. Because the students liked me, some of my teaching clips were posted online, and videos of my performances from many years ago were dug up. People wondered why I no longer played the piano. Someone, I don't know who, exposed the fact that back then Aiden had ruined me, so I couldn't play anymore. For a while, the name Aiden became almost synonymous with malice on the internet, and he was ostracized from the entire social circle in the capital. The Johnson family stocks were implicated and suffered heavy losses. Someone also dug up Luna's earlier apology video and revealed that I was the brother she had mentioned, which stirred public reaction. Luna announced she would temporarily leave the music scene due to poor condition. A year later, I appeared on the international competition stage with my students and became a well-known music mentor. I truly couldn't play complex pieces anymore, but that didn't stop me from shining in other ways. Sophia still came often. She would leave gifts for Chloe at the door and then watch me and my daughter from afar. I was speechless, but since she didn't interfere with our lives, I didn't bother to drive her away. One day, I saw Lucas again. He looked much older. He handed me a key. I know you're saving up to restore Noah Carter's cottage. I've rebuilt it. Don't refuse. Consider it your brother making amends. If you like the place, visit it more. Also, he hesitated. The marriage alliance between the Taylor and Johnson families has been officially called off. Sophia didn't get any shares. You know, her eldest brother never liked her. She won't have any means. She'll probably have a rough time. I've sent Aiden away. His condition requires long-term psychiatric hospitalization. I've restored your room to how it used to be. If you want to come home, you can anytime. I shook my head. Thank you for restoring my brother's cottage. But I won't be going back to the Johnsons. He didn't press the matter and only said softly, the room will always be kept for you. During the summer break, I took Chloe back to South Harbor City and went to Noah Carter's cottage. Standing at the gate of the cottage, time seemed to rewind 5 years to an ordinary morning. Under the jujube tree in the yard, Noah Carter picked up the painted kite and said with a smile, "Try it, Ethan. As long as you believe, it will surely fly high." Now I truly have flown high. I lifted Chloe and gently pushed open the door. "Brother, I'm home.